Hello and welcome to Let's Play Legend of the Shadow Warriors by Stephen Hand. This is book number 44 in the Fighting Fantasy series. Here's the front cover. I know I said I was going to do Robot Commando next, but someone left a comment on one of my videos requesting this, so here I am. Okay, let's read the synopsis. A legend has come to life. A strange madness is abroad in Galanteria. Villagers are being put to the sword by 5 ghostly figures. The Shadow Warriors are mysterious beings from an ancient legend who have somehow returned to life, but are they all that they seem? You are the battle-scarred veteran hired to solve the mystery, but even you have never faced a challenge like the Shadow Warriors, for the whole of the old world is threatened by their terrible secret. Part story, part game, this is a book in which you become the hero. 2 dice, a pencil, and an eraser are all you need. You decide which routes to take, which dangers to risk, and which foes to fight. Cover illustration by Terry Oakes. I always think Steve Jackson looks like an archaeologist and Ian Livingstone looks like a northern pub landlord. But that's just my own opinion. Anyway, enough of that. Here's the front cover again. Okay, Puffin Books, Legend of the Shadow Warriors. This is difficult to read, so I'm going to zoom in. In the aftermath of the War of the Four Kingdoms, Galanteria is a pleasant land celebrating a new ruler. For the inhabitants of the remote village of Karnstein, however, it is a place of soul-rending fear. 5 ghostly figures have stepped out of an ancient legend and into the light of day. Now, the Shadow Warriors are hunting down human beings and putting them to the sword. But why? You are a veteran of the wars, wandering the land in search of adventure. When you are hired to solve the mystery of the Shadow Warriors, when you are hired to solve the mystery of the Shadow Warriors, what you discover will affect the life of everyone in the old world, not least your own. 2 dice, a pencil, and an eraser are all you need to embark on this heart-stopping adventure, which is complete with its own elaborate combat system and a score sheet on which to record your progress. Many dangers lie ahead of you, and your success is by no means certain. Adversaries from your darkest nightmares are ranged against you, and it's up to you to decide which route to follow, which dangers to risk, and which foes to fight. Okay, there's a map of Galanteria, very nice. Difficult to read, it's a bit pixelated. Anyway, let's zoom out again and carry on reading. Okay, so Robot Commandos number 22. Then I'm going to do, I've done Trial of Champions already. Then it's Robot Commando, then Masks of Mayhem. I've done Creature of Havoc, and then it's Beneath Nightmare Castle, and so on and so forth. Anyway, Legend of the Shadow Warriors by Stephen Hand, illustrated by Martin McKenna. Okay, here we go. To Joseph Howell, whose great kindness showed me that there are at least 2 sides to every big story. How to fight the creatures of the old world. Before embarking on your perilous adventure, you must work out your own strengths and weaknesses. Use your adventure sheet on pages 18 to 19 to record all the details of your adventure. What I will do is I'll put a timestamp in the video description, which will take you straight to paragraph 1. And I'll put one in there that'll take you to the background information, so in case you want to skip this. But I will read this, I always do. It will be sensible to make copies of the adventure sheet for further sorties into this adventure. As well as a copy of the adventure sheet, you will also need 2 dice, a pencil, and an eraser. Skill, stamina, and luck. Roll 1 die, add 6 to the number rolled, and enter the total in the skill box on the adventure sheet. Right, where's my adventure sheet? There we go. Okay, now I need the dice. Okay, roll 1 die. Nope, 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 nope. I can wait all day. Oh, how lucky. I get a 6. What are the odds? Okay, so we get a 6, add 6 is 12 for our skill. Yeah, we do need some pretty good skill and stamina for this playthrough. So I will be doing that, of course. Roll 2 dice, add 12 to the number rolled, and enter the total in the stamina box. Okay, so roll 2 dice. Nope. Yes. Okay, so that gives me 22 stamina. Where's my adventure sheet? There we go. 22. There we are. And now for luck. Roll 1 die, add 6, and enter the total in the luck box. Yes. No. Yes. Okay, so we were lucky there, and we got a 6. So we get a 12 for our luck. I would have accepted anything above or equal to 4. Anyway, let's keep going. Now, for reasons that will be explained below, all your scores will change during the adventure. You must keep an accurate record of these scores, and for this reason you are advised to write small in the boxes or to keep an eraser handy, but never rub out your initial scores. As in other fighting fantasy game books, although you may be awarded additional skill, stamina, and luck points, their totals may never exceed their initial scores, except on those very rare occasions when the text specifically tells you so. Your skill score reflects your expertise in combat, your dexterity and agility. Your stamina score reflects how healthy and physically fit you are. Your luck score indicates how lucky you are. In all these cases, the higher your score, the better. Battles. During your adventure, you will often encounter hostile creatures which will attack you, and on other occasions, you yourself may choose to draw your sword against an enemy you chance across, or rather, across whom you chance. In some situations, you may be given a special option allowing you to deal with the encounter in an unusual manner, but in most cases you will have to resolve battles as described below. You will be told your opponent's skill and stamina scores in the paragraph where you first meet it. Enter them in the first vacant encounter box on your adventure sheet. You should also make a note of any special abilities or instructions which are unique to that particular opponent. Then follow this sequence. Roll both dice for your opponent, add its skill score to the total rolled to find its attack strength. Roll both dice for yourself, then add your current skill score to find your attack strength. If your attack strength is higher than your opponent's, you have wounded it. Proceed to step 4. If your opponent's attack strength is higher than yours, it has wounded you. Proceed to step 5. If both attack strength totals are the same, you have avoided or parried each other's blows. Start a new attack round from step 1 above. You have wounded your opponent, subtract 2 points from its stamina score. You may use luck here to do additional damage to it, see below. Now proceed to step 6. Your opponent has wounded you. Subtract 2 points from your stamina score. You may use luck here to minimize the amount of stamina lost. See below. Begin the next attack round, starting again at step 1. This sequence continues until the stamina score of either you or your opponent reaches 0, which means death. If your opponent dies, you are free to continue with your adventure. Excuse me, yawning there. If your opponent dies, you are free to continue with your adventure. If you die, your quest ends and you must start the adventure all over again by rolling the dice to create a new character. Special equipment. During the course of your adventure, you may be fortunate enough to get your hands on special weapons and protective armor. If you wield a special weapon in combat, any blows you land on your opponent will do greater damage. Your foe will lose more stamina than normal. If you enter battle wearing armor, you'll be more or less protected from any blows which your opponent lands on you. You will lose fewer points of stamina than normal. Instructions covering all these cases are given in the paragraphs where the special equipment is to be found. Any rules concerning special weapons that you read there always take precedence over the rules given in the battle section above. Whoops. Fighting more than one opponent. In some situations, you may find yourself facing more than one enemy. Sometimes you will treat them as a single opponent, sometimes you will be able to fight each in turn, and sometimes you will have to fight them all at the same time. If they are treated as a single opponent, the combat is resolved normally. When you are instructed to fight your opponents one at a time, the combat is again resolved normally, except that once you defeat a creature, the next steps forward to fight you. When you find yourself under attack from more than one opponent at the same time, each adversary will make a separate attack on you in the course of each attack round, but you can choose which one to fight. Attack your chosen target as in a normal battle. Against any additional opponents, you throw for your attack strength in the normal way. If your attack strength is greater than your opponent's, however, you will not inflict a wound in this instance. You can regard it as if you have parried an incoming blow. If your attack strength is lower than your enemy's, however, you will be wounded in the normal way. Of course, you will have to settle the outcome against each additional adversary separately. At various times during your adventure, either in battles or when you come across other situations in which you could be either lucky or unlucky, details of these are given in the paragraphs themselves. You may use luck to make the outcome more favorable to you. But beware, using luck is a risky business, and if you are unlucky, the results could be disastrous. The procedure, called testing your luck, works in the following way. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current luck score, you have been lucky and the outcome will be in your favor. If the number rolled is higher than your current luck score, you have been unlucky and will be penalized. Each time you test your luck, you must subtract 1 point from your current luck score. Thus, you will soon realize that the more you rely on your luck, the more risky will this procedure become. Using luck in battles. In certain paragraphs, you will be told to test your luck, and you will then find out the consequences of being lucky or unlucky. However, in battles, you always have the option of using your luck, either to inflict more serious damage on an opponent you have just wounded, or to minimize the effects of a wound you have just received. If you have just wounded an opponent, you may test your luck as described above. If you're lucky, you have inflicted a severe wound, deduct 2 extra points from your opponent's stamina score. If you are unlucky, however, your blow only scratches your opponent and you deduct only 1 point from your opponent's stamina, i.e. instead of scoring the normal 2 points of stamina, you now score only 1. Yeah, I think before in other books it read that you sort of restore a stamina point, which just means you subtract 1 overall. Um, Whenever you yourself are wounded in combat, you may test your luck to try to minimize the wound. If you are lucky, your opponent's blow only grazes you. Deduct only 1 point from your stamina. If you are unlucky, your wound is a serious one and you must deduct 1 extra stamina point, i.e. deduct a total of 3 points from your own stamina. Remember, you must subtract 1 point from your luck score each time you test your luck. More about your attributes. Skill. Your skill score will not change much during the course of your adventure. Occasionally, a paragraph may give instructions to increase or decrease your skill score, but it may not exceed its initial value unless you are specifically instructed to the contrary. If you ever have to fight a battle with your bare hands, that is to say you do not have a weapon with which to fight, you must temporarily subtract 1 from your current skill score for the duration of the combat. At various times during your adventure, you will be told to test your skill. The procedure for this is exactly the same as that for testing your luck. Roll 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your current skill score, you have succeeded in your test and the result will go in your favor. If the number rolled is higher than your current skill score, you will have failed the test and you will have to suffer the consequences. However, unlike testing your luck, do not subtract 1 point from your skill each time you test your skill. Stamina. Your stamina score will change a lot during your adventure. It will drop as a result of wounds gained through combat or by falling foul of traps and pitfalls, and it will also drop after you perform any particularly arduous task. If your stamina score ever falls to 0, you have been killed and should stop reading the book immediately. Brave adventurers who wish to pursue their quest must roll up a new character and start all over again. You can restore lost stamina by eating meals or provisions. You start the game with no provisions, but you will be given the opportunity to obtain food during your adventure. So I'll put that in now. So no provisions, but might get more. Okay. You must keep track of how many meals worth of provisions you have by filling in the details in the provisions box of your adventure sheet. Each time you eat a meal, you may restore up to 4 points of stamina, and you must deduct 1 meal from your provisions box. You may stop and eat provisions at any time, except when you are engaged in a battle. And again, it doesn't state that that I can only eat one at a time. I could eat all of them at once. So, remember, your stamina score may never exceed its initial value, so there's no point in eating meals if your stamina is already at its maximum. Luck. Additions to your luck score may be awarded in the course of the adventure when you have been particularly lucky or have created your own luck by some action. The details are given in the relevant paragraphs of the book. Remember that, as with skill and stamina, your luck score may never exceed its initial value unless you are specifically told that it can. Equipment and gold. At the beginning of your adventure, you have very little equipment that is suitable for a journey of any kind, but you will be given a chance to visit the market at Royal Lendal before embarking on your dangerous quest. During your travels, you may also find other useful items which you can take. For now, though, you have only a sword, a backpack, and a pouch holding a few gold pieces. To find out how many gold pieces you have, roll 2 dice and add 12 to the total rolled. Right, let's do that now. Roll 2 dice. Was it 2? Yeah, roll 2 dice and add 12. Okay. That's not bad. 22 then. I have 22 gold. Right. So 22 gold. There we go. Um, um, Then note the following items on your adventure sheet: your sword in the weapon box and your money in the gold pieces box. Okay, so we have a sword. So I'll put that in equipment. Sword. There we go. If later on you should come across any items which you want to take with you, make a note of them in the equipment box. They are kept in your pack, unless the paragraph tells you otherwise. Weapons. Though you start the adventure with a sword of gleaming steel, you may get the chance to acquire another weapon. If you take another weapon, you must discard your old one, as you can only ever carry one weapon at a time. To discard a weapon, just erase it from the weapon box of your adventure sheet, and then enter the name of the newly acquired weapon in the same box, with a note as to any special instructions that go with it. Once a weapon is discarded, it is lost forever. Remember, if you ever have to fight without a weapon, subtract 1 point from your current skill score for the duration of the entire battle. Armor. You start the adventure wearing no armor, but you may be lucky enough to obtain some later on. If you do get your hands on some armor, note it in the armor box of your adventure sheet. The paragraph where you find the armor will tell you the type of armor it is. Of course, you can wear only one type of armor at any particular time. If you find more and wish to keep it, you will have to discard the armor you are currently wearing. Just erase the old armor from the armor box of your adventure sheet, and then enter the name of the new armor along with any instructions that go with it. Once armor has been discarded, it is gone forever. You may also discard armor if you quite simply no longer wish to wear it. In such cases, just erase the armor from your adventure sheet. You may carry out this action at any time except during a battle. Now, the various types of armor all work in the same way. They give you some form of protection in battles, but only for a certain length of time. Even the finest dwarven plate can take only a certain amount of hammering before it starts to buckle. Due to its bulk, armor also hinders your movements, unfortunately. In the paragraph where you find the armor, you will also be told both the number of hits that the armor can take before it is ruined and exactly how the armor will protect you. Whenever you lose an attack round while you are wearing armor, the armor will automatically protect you, whether you want it to or not. As a result, you will lose fewer stamina points than normal, and you may even not have to lose any stamina at all. However, because the armor will have protected you, you must add 1 to the number of hits that the armor has taken. As soon as the number of hits taken by the armor reaches the total number of hits that it can take, it becomes useless straight away. You may no longer receive the armor's protection and must erase it from the armor box of your adventure sheet. The paragraph in which you find the armor will also tell you to add at least 1 to your dice rolls whenever you have to test your skill, thus reducing your chance of success in the test. This penalty is because of the armor's bulk, and it affects you for as long as the armor is included on your adventure sheet. Wearing armor has no other effect on your skill score. Oh, good. They didn't. The book from which this PDF is taken, the owner of this book did not write in the adventure sheet. That pleases me. Okay. Shadow warriors on steeds infernal, riding ever faster, uprooting tree and breaking stone, searching for their master. Okay, here's the background. Galanteria was once the most civilized land on the face of Titan. Its history began when Orjan, the builder, halted the great roaming of his tribe to build a village which he called Lendl. From there his people spread, building ever more villages, and Lendl itself evolved into a walled city. Orjan's son, Regulus, led the people into a new age of wealth and forged the 8 largest towns into the nation of Galanteria, with royal Lendl as its capital. Galanteria continued to expand and could well have covered the entire old world were it not for the fact that it bordered other nations whose peoples also had thoughts of expansion. Directly south lay the nation of Femfree, and to the east the country of Bryce. Though initially relations were cordial, the people of Bryce grew jealous of Galanteria's wealth and prepared an invasion. Next, Galanterian colonies in the Northlands rebelled and sent an army down into their parent country to win their independence, and it did not take long before the nearby nations of Femfree and Lendelland got caught up in these terrible events. Thus began the War of the Four Kingdoms. Extracts from Life on Titan by Ernst Kanderman. The treacherous Baron Tag led his own monarch into an ambush, he himself plunging a poisoned dagger into King Constain's back. War-torn and leaderless, Galanteria fell into despair. Fortunately, help was at hand in the form of Tantalon, the court magician, who seized the throne in the name of the people. Using a mixture of cunning, wizardry, and brilliant strategy, Tantalon brought the war to an end single-handed. Yet, though he exercised the authority of kingship, he did not keep the crown for himself. He was saving it for another. Excerpt from Court Essays and Observations, 2 Decades of Royal Decorum by Hugo Montpelier. Aged and weary, Tantalon killed 2 birds with 1 stone. At one and the same time, he found Constain's successor and righted 12 wrongs by declaring the latter to the tasks which the former had to complete to win the crown. Thus a new bloodline began to rule Galanteria, Orjan's lineage having ended with the betrayed Constain. Law and order were restored, and an unlikely hero became king. Strangely enough, the coronation coincided with Tantalon's passing away, but the wizard's death and the start of a fresh royal dynasty signalled a new era for the nation. However, Galanteria was no longer the centre of the old world. That position had passed to Femfrey, the realm of King Chalana, who ruled with his magical crown of kings. Chalana lent this great artifact to the rulers of the other countries on condition that they join his now mighty alliance. Indeed, Chalana's wise and generous leadership has proved to be the sole guiding light, leading us into the next age of humanity. Extract from Chalana the Reformer, Volume 3, The Fruitful Years by Matra Sanskriya. Sword for hire. You are a veteran adventurer, lending your sword arm to almost anybody who makes you the right offer, though it must be said you have no great love for gold, requiring only enough to get by. You seek adventure and excitement for their own sake, and look to correct the world's many injustices. Over the years you have fought for many armies, and have joined many expeditions into unknown lands. During the War of the Four Kingdoms you fought on the side of Galanteria, your homeland. Your courage, skill, and leadership earned you many decorations, and, though you never felt comfortable with it, the rank of captain. When the war ended, you spurned the fame you had gained and took to the road in search of fresh adventures. 5 years on, you are now back in Royal Lendal, but the people who once sang your praises have forgotten you. It's taken only 4 days for you to become bored with the city, so, hopeful of bumping into someone interesting, you decide to take yourself to a tavern named The First Step to slake your thirst. It is highly likely that someone in here will be looking for a person with your particular talents. Indeed, you are on the point of draining your second tankard of Lend Ale. Oh, very clever. Of Lendale, like Lendl, when you feel a frantic tapping on your shoulder and you turn to face a worried-looking man. Judging by his appearance, you would say that he is a farmer living on the country's borderland. His words tumble out in hurried anxiety. Please, Captain, you must help us in Karnstein. Our homes are being ravaged by an unstoppable foe, and our people are being cut down like dead wheat. 3 of us, that's me, Mendokan, and 2 of my fellow villagers, have come to the city seeking help, but the authorities won't listen to us. They think we're making it all up. They don't believe that we're being attacked by the Shadow Warriors. It cannot be. The Shadow Warriors are merely bogeymen, used by mothers to make their naughty children behave. Every Galantarian child knows the short nursery rhyme that tells of them. Before you have time to respond, Mendokan continues. No one will help us. Even mercenaries we approached have laughed at our faces. Then, when we heard you were here, you are our last hope. Will you help us? While his words have hardly been a glowing tribute to your skills, you can see that the man is terrified and in dire need of help. You're very doubtful about this Shadow Warrior business, though. It is much more likely that the people of Karnstein are being terrorized by a gang of brigands got up in frightening costumes. Still, you have heard of Karnstein. It's a mere speck of dust on the maps. There's virtually nothing there. What could raiders possibly want from such a place? Perhaps they just enjoy picking on scared, helpless peasants. Whatever the reason, it enrages you to hear of such wanton viciousness. You make up your mind to go to Karnstein on the spot. You will defend the village and teach these Shadow Warriors a lesson they'll never forget. Turn to 1. Okay, here's paragraph 1, and here's the picture. Though he is relieved that you have agreed to help his village, Mendocan now begins to look embarrassed. He says, "We are only a poor and simple people. All we can pay you is 200 gold pieces, and, what is more, the village elders have decreed that you are to be paid after the job is done. Hey ho, such are the times. Still, you won't go back on your word, so you agree to his terms," and Mendocan smiles once more in relief. Now he must go and find his friends so that they can prepare to leave for Karnstein. You yourself will have to buy provisions and other equipment necessary for the journey and your adventure. You shake hands with Mendocan and arrange to meet his party on the main trade route south of the city in 2 hours' time. The farmer then hurries out of the tavern just as a gaudily dressed fellow strolls in and elbows his way towards you. This is Bartolf, an infamous gambler. He struts through even the most dangerous parts of the city wearing expensive silks as a sign of his success at countless gaming tables. "I haven't seen you in here for some time," he says with a sly grin. "Care to try your luck? Although you shouldn't be wasting any time here, a win would enable you to buy more equipment, and thus prepare you for the road ahead. If you accept Bartol's challenge, turn to 86. If you'd rather leave, turn to 30. Okay, we are going to leave because gambling is immoral, so we're going to turn to 30. Sorry, Bartolf. Okay, leaving the tavern behind, you walk towards the sprawling market area in the centre of the city. Ironically, the market stands next to Royal Lendal's poorest district, a warren of dilapidated buildings housing beggars and thieves. All in all, it is a sad and dangerous place. The sort of things the sort of things you want would normally cost you a small fortune. Luckily, you have a good many merchant friends who will sell you their wares for next to nothing. The eastern side of the market is where you will find all the hardware you may need, weapons, basic equipment, and so on. On the western side, more unusual items are to be found. Which side will you visit first? The eastern, turn to 82, or the western, turn to 66. Okay, we're going to visit the eastern side and turn to 82. Here we go. It does not take you long to find most of the articles which you hope will be of use to you during your adventure. Read through the list below, and if you buy any of the items described there, add it to your adventure sheet, remembering to deduct the stated number of gold pieces. Except for the battle axe and the armor, you may use items only when you are instructed to do so by the text. Unless it is stated otherwise, you may buy only one of any article. Okay, battle axe. Each time you hit your opponent in combat, you cause it to lose 4 stamina points, 6 points if you test your luck and are lucky, 2 if unlucky. However, because of the axe's weight, you have to suffer a penalty. Deduct 1 from your attack strength rolls whenever you use it. If you buy the battle axe, enter it in the weapon box of your adventure sheet. Cost 3 gold pieces. What does that say? Calthrops. These spiked metal balls are thrown to the ground in order to deter pursuit. You may buy any number of sets. Cost 1 gold piece per set. Chainmail armor. Each time you are hit in combat, you lose only 1 stamina point. 0 points if you test your luck and are lucky, 2 if unlucky. However, due to the armor's bulk, you must add 1 every time you are called upon to test your skill. The armor protects you only from damage gained in battles and is useless after it has taken 10 hits. Cost 3 gold pieces. Lantern and oil. Useful in dark places. Cost 1 gold piece for a lantern plus 1 skin of oil. Each use of the lantern consumes 1 skin of oil. You may buy any number of additional skins, but not lanterns. Cost 1 gold piece per skin. Manacles. These chains can bind most humanoid creatures. Cost 2 gold pieces. Metal rot. This alchemical solution dissolves most known metals but leaves flesh unharmed. You may buy any number of vials. Cost 4 gold pieces per vial. Rope and grapple. About 20 yards of thin, lightweight rope with a small metal hook affixed to one end. Cost 4 gold pieces. If you have not already visited the western side of the market, turn to 188. If you have, turn to 321. Okay, so we are going to buy okay, let me just think about this. So the notes that I have state buy in order rope and grapple 4 gold, ring of a rope and we need a rope and grapple on the oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah. I remember now. Yeah, so pretty much you sort of buy stuff on the east side, and then you can go to the western side and buy some other stuff, you know. So we're on the eastern side, so we're going to buy a rope and grapple. That's 4 gold pieces. So let me just put that down. Rope, ampersand, grapple. That's -4, so that puts us down to 18. Okay, we're also going to buy lantern and 1 additional skin of oil. That's 2 gold pieces. So we have lantern and skin of oil. So lantern, 1 additional skin of oil. So that costs us another 2 gold pieces. That puts us down to 16. Okay. We're going to get the chainmail armor. So that's going to cost us 3 gold. But I'll have to write down what the chainmail does. So it costs us 3, so put down to 13. And then we have chainmail armor. I'll start a new line for this one because there's chainmail armor. So we've got 10 hits. And what else does it do? It does 1 from your attack strength. No, that's the other thing. Yeah, -1 to test. I'll just say -1 to test skill. -1 to test skill. And the other thing it states, which is and -1 damage per hit. So -1 damage per hit. So -1 damage per hit. Okay, so that's that. Start a new line again. Okay, so that's the chainmail armor. We're also going to get the. Oh no, that's it. Yeah. Oh no, we're going to get another. Yeah, we're going to get another skin of oil. Actually, sorry. So another skin of oil. So gives us 2, but another gold piece is gone, so that's that. Okay, so now we haven't visited the western side, so now we're visiting the western side and turning to 188. Okay, we don't want that battle axe because it's too sort of, heavy in that. Okay. Oh, bit of a monster there. Okay, 188. If you allowed yourself to be diverted and gambled with Bartold from the First Step Tavern, turn to 321. If you did not, you may continue on your way. If you are heading east, turn to 82. If you are heading west, turn to 66. Okay, we did not deal with Bartold, so we're turning to. We were heading west, so we're turning to 66. Okay, it does not take you long to find most of the things which may be of use to you during your adventure. Look at the list opposite, and if you buy any of the items described there, add it to your adventure sheet, deducting the appropriate number of gold pieces. Except for provisions and the amulet of luck, which may be used at any time except during a battle, and the ring of agility, which may be used whenever you test your skill. You may use items only when instructed to do so by the text. Finally, unless the list tells you otherwise, you may buy only 1 of each item. Okay, Amulet of Luck. You may use this talisman once only, after which it is useless. Using it restores your luck score to its initial level. Cost 4 gold pieces. A Chameleon Cloak. Woven by elven craftsmen, this fine cape takes on the hue of any natural background. It is not so effective against man-made backgrounds such as brick walls, and it works best in the hours of darkness. Costs 3 gold pieces. Firecrackers. Thrown at a hard surface, these tiny magical devices explode with a loud noise and a blinding flash of light. Though harmless, they can frighten or shock opponents. You may buy any number of them. Cost 2 gold pieces each. Mirror. Although seemingly useless in the past, mirrors have proved useful time and again in the course of your many adventures. Cost 1 gold piece. Provisions. You may buy any number of meals. Cost 1 gold piece per meal. Ring of Agility. Whenever you are told to test your skill, you may draw on the power of this magic ring. If you do so, deduct 2 from the die roll. You must decide whether or not to use the ring before you make the roll. If you choose to use it, 1 use of the ring is spent, whether you succeed in the test or not. The ring may be used 3 times only, after which it is useless. Cost 4 gold pieces. Sleeping Draught. 1 vial of this potent brew will knock even a manticore out for days. You may buy any number of vials. Cost 3 gold pieces. If you have not yet visited the eastern side of the market, turn to 188. If you have, turn to 321. Okay, so what we're going to get here is we're going to get the Ring of Agility, which is 4 gold pieces. So Ring of Agility. So Ring of Agility. And what this does is, let's get off the 4 gold pieces first. That puts me down to 8. Yeah, so this will deduct 3 uses. So I'll just put 3 uses in there. So 3 uses. Where did that do it? Oh, put it down there. That's annoying. Yeah, okay. Whoops. 3 uses and deduct 2 from what is it? Skill test. Yeah, deduct 2 from skill roll, from test skill. Deduct 2 from die roll when, well, dice roll, isn't it? Because I rolled 2 dice, don't I? Dice roll when test skill. Okay, so that's that. Whoops, that was a full stop there. Didn't mean to do that. Need a comma. Okay, so next line. Okay, we're also going to get 4 foods. That's 4 gold. So 4 provisions. That puts us up to 4, and then that puts us down to 4 gold because that's 4 off. And then finally, Ring of Agility. That's it. That's all we want. Yeah, that's all we want. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so now we're turning to 321, where that's what happens afterwards. So if you have, we visited the eastern side, so now we're turning to 321. Okay, and okay, and we will decide what we're going to do, or we'll read this paragraph in the next part. So thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.